She's passionate about telling stories of amazing women who are rocking the world and empowering women to live, love, and thrive. Here's your host, Katherine Gray.
Hi, welcome to Live, Love, Thrive Women's Empowerment Hour, brought to you by 360karma.com. As you know, we always have incredible women on our show, and today is no different. We have the chairman of the Concern Foundation Board, and we're going to hear what that's all about and the amazing work that they're doing. So please give a warm welcome to Lisi Shapiro-Teller. Hi, Lisi. How are you?
How are you?
Good. I'm finally glad I got you on the show.
I know. It's been a while.
You are doing so much great work, you and the people at the Concern Foundation. And I bet a lot of my viewers don't know what the Concern Foundation is, so I'm looking forward to kind of informing them about that. I actually lost both of my parents to cancer, so I'm very thrilled with what you guys are doing to do a lot of research to help, if not cure cancer, at least slow it down and make it so that people live longer. And I know that's what you guys are doing. You've had incredible success with that. And so we want to talk about that. And this organization's been around 50 years?
This is our 50th year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
back then, hardly anybody seemed to get cancer, right? It seemed more rare than today.
It was rare. We never heard of, my parents' friends at our age getting cancer. And either they didn't talk about it, or you just didn't know.
I was just going to say that. They didn't talk about it.
They didn't talk about it.
And they'd whisper about it.
Yeah. And it was like,
she has cancer.
Right, like it was a bad disease.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You didn't. But there were people, this Concern got started by a woman who died of breast cancer.
Oh.
And her friends wanted to do something to sort of help her, and this is what they did. They started this foundation to raise money for breast cancer, and then since then, obviously, it's grown to different kinds, any kind of cancer.
Now, the people that started this partly were your husband's parents?
No, it was friends' parents.
Oh, friends' parents.
And some of my parents' friends.
Some of your parents' friends, gotcha.
And
speaking of your parents, I have to just mention that one of the favorite people on the planet for me is your mom, Annette Shapiro.
Thank you.
She is just such a bright light. I can see how you come from her.
Thank you.
With all the good work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And it is beautiful. I know you said you were raised with this philosophy of giving back and have imparted that on your kids.
We have.
Courtney and Jordan. Courtney's here today, of course.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about how the different generations have actually helped build out and expand the Concern Foundation. So initially, you and your husband were involved, and you've been married 35 years. You get an award for that, right?
Yeah. Well, my parents will be 70.
Oh, my gosh.
In April.
Okay. So Annette and Lenny, I love them. Wow, 70 years?
Yep.
I don't even know if I know anybody that's been together 70 years.
They were married so young.
Wow. They were married at 5?
As your future in-laws, they were married at, in their 18, 19. So
that was the norm back then.
That was the norm back then, to get married right out of high
here
school.
I am waiting till I'm 58. Oh my!
Yeah.
But so this started from the friends and all having friends that had cancer, so they wanted to do something about it. And then you and your husband got involved as like the next generation.
Right.
And so you all expanded on it and started like.
We started Concern too. So we were we were all just married. So we were in our mid-20s. And
just 10 years ago?
Yeah. And we were in our mid-20s, and before we had children, we started this Concern too. And our friends, Ricky Powell and Nancy Powell, called and asked, if we could do it, and Derek Alpert and a bunch of other people. And so we've been involved. It's been about 30, close to 40 years that we doing it. But Concern 2 was until you were 40. So when we all turned 40, we then rolled over into the Concern Foundation Board.
And isn't it nice to have a group of friends that you're all doing like this great work?
And our kids all grew up together, and our kids have been part of Concern since they were born.
And
that's
so
all they know.
Concern 2, what you all did differently was try to attract younger people to the
We were attracting doing single parties,
Yeah.
and we charged like $25, which you couldn't do now. We used to go to Costco and we'd buy everything there, and we'd serve like cheesecake, from cheesecake factories, be able to buy them frozen at the market.
You're making me hungry.
And that's just what we did, and we did it all ourselves, and we raised
a lot of money.
By the time we finished, we probably raised close to $1 million. By the time we finished our 10-year span, I mean, we did get 500-600 people.
Did you all start the block party?
No, the block party was started by the Concern Foundation original board. They started the block party.
So let's tell people what the block party is.
The block party started on Rodeo Drive, and and restaurants would come and they donate their food and everything, and they would set up like booths along.
And you would
Rodeo.
like block off a whole block or something.
The whole Rodeo Drive between Wilshire and Santa Monica.
Oh my gosh, how fun!
And Pierre Cassette used to do a whole show, a big show, in parking lot which is now I think one Rodeo. That used to be a parking lot. Oh. And in that parking lot would be a stage, and they'd do a show.
And then eventually you moved it to the Paramount lot.
Well, it got too expensive, and the retailers were mad because they were started opening on Sunday, and we were taking away the business. So we then went to Paramount.
Right.
And we've been at Paramount 20 years.
Oh my gosh. And this happens the second Saturday of every July.
Every July. And we get 3,000 to 4,000 people.
Wow. And this raises millions of dollars?
We raise a couple $1.5 million to $2 million.
Wow.
And
all of that goes through Concern Foundation to young doctors and researchers around the world.
Around the world.
To
do the beginning
research.
stages of the research. So we get young investigators.
And all different kinds of cancers.
All different kinds of cancers. So we get young investigators that, in order to get government money, they have to get grants from foundations such as ours.
Wow.
And then they have to write, the research papers, and then go for the government money. But it's a big process, and the only way to get started is from money from us.
Now, you're the chairman of the board, and you guys get like 500 requests or something like that a year,
Not
right?
usually. This particular year, we do it every 2 years. We have a review process where you have doctors that are researchers from all over the world that have been doing this for us for a long time. It's a lot of work.
Right.
This particular year, we had over 600 applicants.
Wow.
Partially because the government funding is down.
It's drying up.
Is down. So
isn't that crazy?
Yes,
all
it
these
is
people
crazy.
dying of cancer, and
they're cutting it.
Yeah, and they're cutting it.
Yeah. So they need our money. But these beginning researchers, they're looking at where's the cancer coming from? How is it happening?
Right.
And from their researchers, another researcher will come and take that information, and they'll learn a little bit more. I mean, this process takes 20 years.
Right.
So when we first were working with Children's Hospital, we were working on immunology, and that was 20 years ago.
Right.
Well,
so we forgot to mention that your concern too, the focus was on children with cancer.
Right. It was on children.
And helping children with cancer.
Right. We were very involved with Stu Siegel at Children's Hospital. That was our first 10,000 we raised went there.
And now your new generation, your daughter and your son and their friends have started the new Concern Foundation.
Concern Now.
And Concern Now.
Concern Now.
And so their focus, is that on the children as well? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. They're doing, events for the children. We do 2 events at the end of the year. One at Universal, because they give us money to bring children from Children's Hospital. And they work on that, and then we do a holiday party for the children at the hospital with their whole families, and they get gifts. And so the Concern Now group is taking over, kind of running that.
So I love that. If anybody out there is interested in helping with cancer research, boy, this is the organization to be involved with.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying is, you told me they actually have several hundred of the children and their families go to Universal, see like a new movie, get holiday gifts.
No, that's at the holiday party.
Oh, that's
Paramount.
a holiday party.
The Universal, they just get free passes, and we have volunteers, young volunteers that take groups, and they get front of the line passes.
Oh, that must be
Universal
so wonderful.
gives them lunch, and it's a wonderful day to see these kids who have been suffering and
get to play
and
be
smile
a regular kid
and be a regular kid. And then it's
program.
wonderful. And then in December, Paramount gives us their theater, gets us a top movie. And not necessarily from Paramount. Sometimes they get us from Disney or something else. And then we have fully donated. We have a lunch for them, and we have Halloween candy that people donate to us, and hundreds of gifts. And each family gets enough gifts for each child in their family.
How beautiful.
And and Beauty Bus is an organization that works with us. They do hair care and nail care for the patient and the caregivers. And they come and they do free all this stuff, and it's just a wonderful time where the families just get to be together and on something happy.
So since Concern Foundation has been doing all this research, they've made great strides in that certain types of cancer, like let's say brain cancer for children, has reversed. Like instead of the majority passing away, the majority are living.
Right.
So that is just, I get goosebumps saying this, because that's major. It just goes to show why there should be more funding. But the progress has been amazing. So I love that you guys do both. You focus on the research with these doctors all over the world. I think you said you pick 10 each year.
They will pick 10, I think maybe 10, 15, depending on what they had. And they get $60,000 a year for 2 years.
Plus it helps them get the government funding.
And then it helps to get the government funding. After a year, they have to show us their progress, written, progress and stuff.
And then the second prong is that you do these wonderful things for the actual kids who are patients and their caregivers and families. That's wonderful. Wonderful work you all do.
So we do, there's been a lot of strides. I mean, right now, we heard a doctor the other day, there's a lot of strides now happening with this immunology and this new stuff and
wonderful.
targeting cancers instead of, killing your whole body.
Well,
they're just trying to target it.
Right, and that's been
which is
big progress.
Big right now.
Right, and speaking of that, you yourself had this health journey of challenges. You lost a brother to diabetes who you had given a kidney to.
Right.
And you had mentioned just weeks after that you had lupus, and then you ended up yourself fighting stomach cancer.
Right.
And that was back in 2005.
That was in 2005.
Yeah, and here in 2018, you're like rocking and rolling.
I'm
and
doing okay.
Giving back and doing good stuff, and God bless.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think that the research done there has helped your personal situation with what you had, or is it hard to tell?
I think all the research helps all the cancers because each researcher is finding something different. And today they're all sharing their information. Way back when, especially with breast cancer, they weren't sharing their information, the doctors, because depending on their information, depending on how much money they got from the government.
Right.
And sharing it means they're not going to get that money.
Right.
And they can't write the papers because they didn't do it all. Now everyone's sharing their information.
Right.
So,
which makes so much sense.
It does make sense. City of Hope has a new diabetes thing that my parents are part of, and they are mixing with the researchers in cancer and finding that there's some connection there.
Right.
And one could help the other. So
if someone is listening and they have some sort of cancer, or maybe a friend does, what's your advice to them? Like for yourself, what's your personal journey? Did you seek out different opinions? Did you try any experimental? What's your advice?
Well, in my case, it was found accidentally, which stomach cancer is usually found accidentally or too late. I was having pain in my back, thought it was a kidney stone in the only kidney I have, and I insisted on a CAT scan. And you have to be your own advocate.
Right.
And if
I'm a
you
big believer in
feel
that.
that something's wrong, you need to ask for it, and you
Right.
need to push for it.
Right.
And they didn't want to do it, and I did it, and three MRIs later, they discovered that I had cancer.
Wow.
But in my case, we had a doctor at USC at the time, Alexandra Levine, who was blood doctor, hematologist, and was my husband's doctor at the time. So the only thing I said was, I don't want to go to a million different places. I want to be at one place and take care of it all. I don't want to go to the surgeon here and this one here, because no one talks to each other. You can't get a hold of each other. So we called Alexandra and gave her the stuff, and she basically was my advocate.
Right.
She was head of the hospital at the time, so she just took over my case, and she said, you're going to go to this doctor and this doctor and this doctor and this doctor.
You do need an advocate.
And I said fine. I didn't talk to another doctor. I knew that she was the best in the country. And
Yeah.
So in that case, I didn't. Yet she sent my things after the surgery. She sent my labs out to somebody else who specialized in stomach cancers.
Right.
In what she thought it was, and then they found out what it was. So, in that case, I did. If you don't know the doctor well, you may want to go to a couple other doctors. And
so because you caught it early, you were able to remove it.
Well, I didn't catch it early.
Okay.
I found out from her that 3 years prior, when I had kidney stones, I went to Tarzana Hospital, and they did, when I was in pain, they did the x-rays and stuff. And I gave them to her. She says that tumor was right in the middle. They looked at my ovaries and said, there's a problem with one of the ovaries, and you have kidney stones. Never said a word about
the tumor.
The tumor was there 3 years prior. The difference was the tumor then ulcerated in the stomach and started bleeding. So then I had internal bleeding.
Let me ask you this. Having had cancer yourself, and you're working in this spectrum of helping people, and then after doing all that work, you end up having it yourself. How has that changed your perspective on life?
It changes a lot because, you don't know what the outcome's going to be.
Right.
In my case, you don't know for 5 years really what the outcome's going to be.
Right.
In my case, it wasn't contained. They had to cut it away from off the pancreas. So I had, didn't want to lose my pancreas, so I would become a diabetic. Then it was connected to the only kidney I had, so they had to carefully save that kidney.
Right.
But when they do that, there's always the chance that there is a cell that can get loose.
Right.
And you don't know that. That's why they watch you for 5 years.
Right.
So
so now you've been free.
I've been cancer-free since then.
For like
12 years. Yeah.
Wow.
And I had radiation, and they decided to do the radiation because if it came back, they'd be able to give me chemo. And sometimes they can't give you chemo twice.
Right.
So I did the radiation, and it was from the neck down pretty much. But because I have only one kidney, they have a targeted radiation. So they were able to target it and do it in several spots all the way around.
And that's what you're talking about. What they're doing more of today is the targeting.
They target the radiation.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Where they used to just give you the radiation from the whole body.
And it did not turn out well.
No, it did not.
Yeah.
No.
Well, this is wonderful
progress. It did not. So that's a lot of progress.
Yeah. But day to day, how does it affect you? Does it make you really, I always say, I like to live each day like I'm squeezing it like a lemon.
Yeah, you have a lot of gratitude and a lot of appreciation.
Live in the present.
You live in the present.
Yeah.
A lot of appreciation for your parents, for your family.
Yeah.
And just for your children. I mean, at the time, my son had just started college.
Yeah.
He'd only been there a month, not even a month when I found out.
Yeah.
My daughter was just starting 8th grade.
Wow.
And I did everything for her, and she had to then learn to change her ways. She had to learn that she can do it on herself, do it her own, do things her own.
It does make people grow up.
And changed her life.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say that something bad happens, but there always is something good that comes behind it.
I'm a big believer in
and
that.
it may not happen right away. Maybe it's 5 years from that.
Right.
in this case, by the end of that school year, she was a different child.
Wow.
And to me, that just that change is what was the best part of the end of that tunnel.
Right.
Because it changed her life forever.
Right.
It gave her confidence
in a positive way.
In a positive way.
Yeah.
It gave her confidence, and that she would have eventually had, but unfortunately, when the kids are living at home and going through it, they grow fast because they have to see.
Yeah, they have to grow up and be there
And
for you.
Right.
And
And take care of themselves.
I was going to say, nothing like getting outside ourselves to
Right.
help someone else to make us feel really happier.
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
And that's why you do this great work. It
Right.
makes you feel good to get out of yourself and help other people. That's what I
Absolutely.
believe, why
Yeah.
people really get a high and a joy out of volunteering,
Yeah.
being with other like-minded people,
Right.
knowing that you're on this planet making a difference.
Yeah.
Or why be here, really?
Right, and it's
Yeah.
to see. I mean, even for instance, when you see these kids that are healthy, you know, it's wonderful because
Yeah.
you know you had a little part in that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but for me, it's a day-to-day challenge. You know, when you have cancer, such as I did, or if you go through chemo, there are side effects, and
Yeah.
when you lose your stomach, you
Yeah.
have to redo your whole insides,
Right.
and there are challenges every day.
Right.
Every day. For me, I lost 40 plus pounds, and keeping on weight is really a challenge. So, you know, it changes,
Right.
and you appreciate just everything around you more.
Right. It does. It does heighten that
it does.
appreciation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know,
And what positive has come out of it for you?
I think that I've you know, lived day to day and,
Yeah.
and appreciate everything that we have and how lucky we are.
Yeah.
And want to give back, whether it's financially or as
Right.
volunteering my time.
Right.
Just being out there and helping others.
Yeah.
And many times, unfortunately, we've had friends that we've lost from cancer.
Yeah.
And helping them through it is really, really important to me, too.
Right. And I think that people take their health for granted.
You absolutely do.
And when something strikes,
Yeah.
I know even when we just went through the pneumonia and the flu, it reminds you of
Yeah.
how you really need to appreciate when you are feeling good and to strive to do that,
Right.
to eat right and exercise and take good care of our bodies. But we do so many times take it for granted. So
Yeah.
when we do have these health scares, I do think it's that wake-up call.
Oh, it is
Yeah.
definitely a wake-up call. You
Yeah.
know, when we were in our 20s and 30s, you don't...
Invincible. And
Yeah, but
Yeah.
again, we didn't see our parents, friends they had heart things and this, but we didn't see
Yeah.
them. Even our grandparents, we didn't see them having these cancers
Yeah.
and lupus and stuff.
You know what? And we're
So it's
wrapping up. As we wrap up, I want to talk about why do you think we see more cancer today?
I don't know. Maybe it's the food.
Yeah. I
You
think
know, I
it's
try to
food,
tell my
environment.
kids all the time, stay away from the sugars. Stay
Yeah.
away. Because right now is the time you got to take care of your body.
Right. Do you
right
think
now.
we eat more sugar now than we did back then? Is that why there's been a change?
I
or
don't know. Well,
more
I think-
chemicals in the food.
Well,
There's obviously more processed food.
When you look at older people, they ate like we did younger, and that's why our age group is having cancer, because they ate all that chemicals and that junk.
Yeah.
I think more people today, the
But
kids
we are
eating
living
healthy.
longer.
We're living longer,
Yeah.
but the kids today are eating healthier. And
Yes.
my grandchildren's, my grandsons, that age group, they're eating healthier.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. And I think people are more aware of it today.
Yeah.
We weren't as aware of it.
Right. So, like anything, anytime there's like bad things happening, something good comes out of it. And
Yes.
so, what good is coming out of it is that this younger generation is more aware,
Absolutely.
living healthier lives.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing your
you.
story.
This is wonderful.
And for
Thank
doing
you.
all the great work that you're
Thank
doing.
you.
And I hope people will visit theconcernfoundation.org and join us next week. Make it a great week. Hugs and happiness.